what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and I just found out about a game called Outward. So let's talk about why I'm so excited for it. We're going to talk about my hope for the game, my hype for the game, and we're going to talk about some things that could go wrong, maybe awry, some things that I might be a little bit skeptical of. But for the most part, we're just going to look at what they have advertised for the game, and we're going to talk about it before it even comes out. So just a lot of speculation and just a lot of energy. So take it, senpai. Let's try to make a good, awesome game, especially since this game, which is an open world survival RPG, is actually going to be co-op. It's not server co-op, if I'm not mistaken. It is actually local co-op. So they did show split screenage. That's pretty exciting. But then, yeah, you're going to also have online. So basically, what the feeling I'm getting from Outward is it's going to be like co-op Skyrim, but focused on survival mechanics. I say focused, but I mean, obviously, like to a much greater extent than just eating cheese to recover health. There are literal survival mechanics, and they're more than just a flavor. They're equal parts RPG and survival mechanics in this game. And the combat actually looks way more Dark Soulsian, which turns me right on, but it's still an open world game. So it's like Dark Souls, but then it's like, I don't know, kind of survivally. So you can say like Ark, I don't know, because Ark has some crazy monsters. So it's like Ark survival evolved a little bit, if you want to say that, a little bit of Skyrim. It just seems like a weird mix of mechanics that we have totally seen in other games. Like we've seen this here, that there, but put all together in this particular genre with a specific focus on cooperation is what gets me really turned on. So a lot of you guys are probably a little bit dubious that I just said some things, oh, it's an online survival RPG. Ooh, okay, sure. No, I do actually think the game is going to be a proper RPG with the fact that magic and how it is utilized in this world, the progression mechanics with the armors, with the classes, how you actually grow your character, at least, is what I mean. Actually going around and finding these different locations, spelunking in different dungeons, and then how, depending on who kills you, apparently, and then what you do in the world, it's going to kind of affect the world state and possibly the world story progression. In a co-op survival setting, that is super exciting. That's something that Fallout 76 should have been. That's something a lot of survival games dare to even dream about, which they barely touch. And a lot of these open world RPGs they're almost always single player, and they even barely do things like that. Of course, that's probably going to be a double-edged sword. Some things of this game are probably going to be cut. So, as exciting as that is, and they do promote the game like that, which, that's cool for me, right? I'm good for that because that's how I play Oblivion and Skyrim. I just run around the outskirts and then the wilderness and I just go spelunking. That's how I play those games. So if you're that kind of player, then Outward is, oh my God, your kind of game. But if you're somebody who just loves open world RPGs, there's some good ones, like Skyrim. There's some really awesome storylines you have in the cities and such. There's some sort of cool trading sequences, I suppose, and training that you can do to progress your character linearly through the story, I guess you could say. But Outward doesn't seem, I don't think it's really promoting itself like that, which, kind of scares me. So I doubt it's going to have, like, really engrossing quests, which Skyrim and especially Oblivion totally had, Brotherhood hype. So I doubt it's going to have that. I don't think it's going to have an interesting, fun economy. It's probably going to be more Dark Souls, where it's like you go out, do a challenge, earn a magic, and then, you from there, that's what you do. You probably go around spelunking around the world, you pick up stuff, you progress your character, you get stronger, and then you all doing the same thing. I don't think you're going to have too much of a mix match. Now, they do show some city-ish, not like gameplay, they just kind of show it. So, they're obviously, if you look at some other stuff like Space Odyssey, you see clearly like in the trailer, okay, face, speech, talked, facing, RPG, right there. Cyberpunk 2077, you see like instantaneously, okay, this is going to be a character game. And this game, even though it's an RPG, it doesn't seem like it's character based. So it's probably going to be more darker, more, I guess grim in a sense, more survivally, more sparsed out with character interaction. So yeah, I guess Dark Soulsian in a way. An open world, I know comparing, contrasting can turn some people off, but basically I'm seeing this game as an open world survival Dark Souls kind of game, which I think that's kind of cool. As long as the survival mechanics aren't annoying, as long as they are more focused on giving us buffs and helping us do things better versus straight up killing us. Now I'm somebody who plays Don't Starve. I have played survival games, all of them, okay? But some games, especially modern survival games, like they they might have been more fun if they kind of didn't have those mechanics. So anyways, Outward is looking pretty exciting. Now, if you guys want to know about the developers, it's actually developed by 9 Dots Studios. So yeah, no, they did some pretty cool stuff. They did some pretty cool stuff here. I don't know if you guys have heard, Pathfinder Kingmaker is another RPG, Metro, Agents of Mayhem, which I don't really know about, but Saints Row, that's pretty exciting, and Dead Island. So they understand a little bit, maybe debatable, of some RPG stuffs. But I don't know, this whole merging of survival is kind of interesting to me, I think. Now, if you actually want to know specifically what they actually bullet point on their Steam, they do say the very first bullet point is survive in the wilds as you explore the land. Again, I'm really trying to tell you guys that this is like a exploring, spelunking, like really kind of a pure open world experience. You're probably not going to get the quest lines. Like, I know a lot of people love Skyrim for those quest lines. Me, actually not so much. A lot of them are boring. Some of them are amazing, but like, let's be honest. Most open world games, most quest lines are kind of filler, and there's a little bit of magic here and there, but you know what? I'm fine with that. If you're going to do an open world that focuses on survival mechanics and exploring, then just go balls to the wall, let's do it. So that's what they're doing, seemingly. And they're allowing you to play co-op. Next bullet point, you can play solo or cooperatively. This is not a server game. I don't think that's what this means. It means co-op. It means like your buddy, your friend, you're going to play together, you're going to spelunk together, you're going to explore together, you're going to survive or die together. It's going to be great. And here we got into some of the combat. So if you are seeing the trailer that I'm replaying or some of the gameplay, you might see that it is lumbering. It is more deliberate. Again, very similar to Dark Souls, but I like the words they use for the magic system specifically, which I'm assuming is going to be a big part of the game. Though I guess you can choose to be a mage or not, but still, magic systems are important. So they say it's going to be ritualistic, step-by-step approach to spell casting. So maybe that means something like if you played Guild Wars 2, there's something called mantras, where you actually have to do a small little ritual. You kind of sing a mantra real quick, and then you kind of chamber a bullet of a spell, essentially. So you have to kind of load up a spell, and then you can use it later. I don't know how in-depth these rituals are for the spell casting, but for the most part, basically, you can tell that spell casting isn't going to just be the flamethrowers and the nukes of Skyrim. In an RPG, really, my favorite spell casting are always the weirder, harder, more niche, more almost like Harry Potter-ish type of spells that's really magical. You know, it's not just, okay, here's a fire missile, which is basically like a rocket launcher. Here's the lightning gun. No, I want magic that is freaking magical, right? Give me a flame whip. You know, give me that weird stuff that we see in Dark Souls, right? The homing soul masses, things like that. And I'm assuming, based on mechanics, and actually this works really well with the whole survival mechanics, which is about a game being about preparation, about progression. So, you know, having these survival mechanics just makes sense with a magic system that is about preparation as well, such as the ritualistic approach to it. That's freaking cool. So, yeah, being an online game, being a local co-op game that's about exploring, that also has a world state that progresses. How is the saving going to work? Apparently, it's going to have consistent auto-saving. That could be bad. That could go wrong. That could go very awry, especially being an online game. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that with the mods with Skyrim or Oblivion. Oh boy. So, I don't, you know, that's cool. I'm glad that they're going to go that route. I like it in Dark Souls. You know, once you kill something, holy shit, you just killed that guy. Well, say goodbye to vending that magic. I like it. I like the risk reward, but it could also go bad if it's just, you know, if it's buggy. So hopefully this game breaks the mold of games like this and isn't buggy at launch with that specifically, because I do want to play this game specifically co-op. If you guys want to buy it and play it with me, that'd be great. I'm going to stream it. So yeah. Anyways, so it says encounter dynamic defeat scenarios. This is kind of what I'm talking about. And if you watch the stream, they lightly touch it. I don't know if I just skipped through some parts, but I think basically what happens is the game doesn't have permadeath exactly, but depending on certain scenarios where you are and apparently what kills you, that counts as a true defeat in that story arc, whatever. So I guess if, like, I don't know if I could just make something up, like if some sort of bandit is ransacking a town and maybe you die during that event, you don't permanently die, but your world state will change, and when you come back, that town will be changed because of the bandits? Possibly? I don't know. Again, I'm kind of just making up a situation, but yeah, I think that can be what happens there. Anyways, and the final bullet point here is, it says a unique experience with every playthrough. So this game is meant to be replayed. Again, another nod to the non-focus of linear quest lines. So there's probably going to be lots of little quest lines, lots of little open world events and progressions throughout, in the whole direction. There might be like a full multiple different kinds of endgame. So maybe there's different kind of world-ending bosses that you even encounter. So I think that's actually a really good focus. I think that also nods to the fact that it is a co-op game. So it's a game that you want to replay over and over again with a couple of different players and trying to get different end game states, different experiences overall, play different classes, earn different spells, and hopefully there is a plethora of very unique dungeons, very unique biomes, very unique directions that our players can go morally with the RPG, with the world state, which it's probably going to be light, but hopefully mechanically there at least is different toys that we can play with in this pretty big toy box. Again, it doesn't matter how big the box is, how open world the game is, right, Ubisoft? What matters is the fun toys that we can use and how deep they can be and dazzling. So I think that as long as the magic system is entwined with all the different classes, I know some people might not want to use magic. Hopefully the melee is, the actual playing the game, hopefully that is fun because it is fun in Dark Souls. And I would say, especially in Dark Souls 3 with the weapon arts. So hopefully they can learn from that and they make it more engaging. Of course, I want the different monsters to be more really engaging like Dark Souls versus Skyrim. But the game, okay, so here's my final worry, right? My worry for the game is that from what I've seen, it's got Dark Souls-like gameplay, but with monsters that remind me of Skyrim. And since it's focused on more of a preparation type of playstyle, like Skyrim, where it's like, okay, do you have the armor? Do you have the food? Do you have the buffs? Do you have the levels? Or do you have your build? Which is, it's very similar to a lot of RPGs. But I don't know. I'm worried that it's just going to be rather dull. I think I'm worried that it's not going to be that immersive in terms of RPG or story, and I'm worried that overall it's just going to be like a big, wide, shallow kind of ocean of a game where there's technically a lot of stuff to do, and technically like this is a unique game with all these cool bullet points, which yeah, we've seen these mechanics in other games, but pulled all together, it's really cool. It's a really interesting idea, but it's also leaning in the direction of, yeah, it's going to be a tedious, grindy RPG. Where you and a friend just kind of, I don't know, basically go camping. And you know what? Not everyone loves camping. Most people like living, in luxury in apartments with their bidet toilets. I know I do. I got a clean butthole. But so yeah, I think that in my fantasy games, I do like the high fantasy approach. I do like games that are brutal. Don't get me wrong, and can be clunky, like Monster Hunter and Dark Souls. But when it's a walking simulator, when it's a farming simulator, when it's a chore simulator, versus more so than the fantasy, that's when I get worried. But my hope for the game is that they're going to balance all these things together so that they compound and feel good. Like, how the clunkiness of the Dark Souls combat makes the combat feel more action-packed, actually, somehow, amazingly. Just because it's not a spectacle fighter, but it's a spectacle nonetheless, and it feels so punchy when you play. So maybe these survival mechanics with the ritual magic, with the world state of the game, it'll give you a feeling of expedition, right? And you want to expedite your exploration of the world so that you actually, catch these different events, you explore it, you see everything that you want to see, or you can in that one playthrough. But hopefully there's so much stuff, that's the key thing. Hopefully there's so much stuff to do in the game that you simply can't reach it all, versus the game just being grindier, so that you simply can't see the few things that are in the game, if that makes sense. A lot of titles do this, especially online games, but we'll see. And if this game, even if it as base foundation doesn't have that much stuff in the game, as long as they add bot support, well, just like Skyrim, I think we will be good to go. So I'm excited for this. I do actually love the idea, the merger of these RPG franchises, putting in survival mechanics. And also inversely, we're seeing a lot of survival games actually, and these open world exploration games that were more adventure games becoming RPGs. So I think this trend makes a lot of sense. I think this game is coming out at the right time. It's actually going to launch the 12th of February, 2019. And I think it's going to be a pretty sick game. So explore the vast world of Aurai, embark on memorable adventures alone or with your friends, and whatever. I don't know why they, and whatever, that's what it says right there on the Steam. So 9 Dot Studios, I'm kind of excited for this game. A lot of people really appreciated Kingdom Come Deliverance and Pathfinder here, which Deep Silver published. I think a lot of people actually took a lot of favor to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and a lot of people are just enjoying open world RPGs at the moment. Of course, always wanting, and I think Outward as a AA sort of survival RPG has a lot of promise, and so that's why I wanted to throw it out. Again, my hope is that the gameplay is more depth oriented than just making the game grindy and survivally, but still, my hype is going to stay alive for this title because I think it's going to focus just on that niche. Cool. Take out the linear story, take out, a lot of the fantasy epicosity that might happen with the more storied world building. Fuck it. Just focus on the gameplay. Just focus on that. You gave us local co-op. Awesome. Focus on that. Make it balanced. Make it a good experience, polished, which it does. It definitely looks like it's running good already. And you know what? That's all I got to ask. So a AA totally focused product, I think, is the way of the future for video games. People who have played the games already mentioned, such as Kingdom Come Deliverance, I think would agree with me. So let me know what your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. A little bit ranty, a little bit wordy, but this is why I'm excited for Outward. All right, keep the hype alive, and I'll see you again next time.